So it's been a rather long time since I have spoken about the benefits of barefoot shoes, and so I thought I would do a more up-to-date video with my kind of thoughts and opinions on barefoot shoes and why I think they are so brilliant long-term, and why they are the direction that I try and encourage my clients and the people that I come across just in my daily life, not even my clients, to start wearing them. And one of the things that has prompted me to do this today is that Vivo Barefoot, who are my favourite barefoot shoe brand, they're the only barefoot shoe brand that I've ever worn. And that's not to say there's not other great companies, but I can only speak from experience. I've only ever worn Vivo Barefoot shoes. They have kindly sent me some new shoes today. So I wanted to show you these new shoes, but also talk you through in general why I think barefoot shoe brands, whatever brand you might go for, are so beneficial and so important when it comes to your long-term health and being able to move well in a functional way for as long as you possibly can. So let's have a quick look at the new shoes that I have been sent, and they are so new. I'm bringing them out of the box and I'm going to take the cardboard things out. So Vivo Barefoot, and probably most other barefoot brands, make barefoot shoes so that your feet can move in the way that human feet are designed to move, okay? And I'll show you a couple of features that most barefoot shoes will probably share. So number one, the back of the shoe is not higher than the front of the shoe. It looks a little bit here like this part of the shoe is higher than the front, but actually that's like a design thing. This back of the heel is at the same height as the front of the heel. So we're not on this tilting downwards heeled shoe like most other non-barefoot trainers are. So most other non-barefoot trainers are actually heels. So you might not think you wear heels, but if your shoe is higher at the back than it is at the front, you're wearing heels. You're therefore wearing heels to do something that you are sort of upping the load and the demand through your body. This constant state of plantar flexion through your feet basically will, like, over time chronically shorten your calves, your hamstrings. It will put pressure into your lower back, and it just stops your feet, your legs, your hips and your whole body from being able to move as it's supposed to. So the number one thing we're looking out for, and why barefoot shoes are so great, are that they do not have any element of heel in them. Most shoes like this. Second thing we're looking out for, there is no padding or support or cushioning in the sole of the shoe. So that's a little bit more difficult to show you there, but there's no arch support, there's no like fluffiness, there's no kind of shock absorption. And for lots of people, when they hear that, it's like horrifying, like, oh my God, there's no shock absorption in my shoes. But if your body works well and if your feet work well, they have a natural shock absorption mechanism built into them. So what barefoot shoes do so nicely is that without having cushioning and insoles and all that jazz inside of them, they help make you realize if you have a problem, if that makes sense. So if you are unable to walk, to run, to do anything without an insole or cushioning in your shoes, you have a whole body biomechanical issue. It might not be your feet, it could be your hips and pelvis, it could be your upper body, it could be a shoulder, it could be your feet. It could literally be anything being off in your body and not moving properly, but the problem is felt at your feet just because that's how the cookies crumbled for you. For somebody else, it could be felt elsewhere. So yeah, if you can't do things barefoot or without padding and insoles, the answer long-term is not to put padding and insoles in your shoes. It's to figure out what's going wrong that's causing that pain. The short-term interim solution may be to use an insole or to have some padding in your shoes. But alongside that, you have to be on this kind of quest to find out what parts of your body are not working properly to support you in the way that your body needs, that are meaning that you're bearing too much load through your feet, requiring you to have that insole and that cushioning. And so when you get your body to the point where you don't need the insole and the cushioning, what it means is your feet can operate as the kind of spring push-off mechanism, shock absorption mechanism that they are supposed to be, and they can function properly. So that's why we like the fact that there is no support or cushioning in these shoes. Next thing we're looking at, the front of the shoe, the top of the shoe like this, has enough space for your toes to splay. So human toes are supposed to be a little bit like human hands. If you have a look at a baby's feet who hasn't yet had them corrupted and deformed by the kind of narrow points that most Western shoes are styled in, you notice that they have these lovely wide mobile toes that are very kind of dexterous, and you know, they can move them individually. Myself included, but most of us have spent so long shoving our feet into toe boxes that are like points, really, really narrow. We deform our feet into this kind of triangle pattern, which is also where the beginning of bunions and things can start coming from as well. We're literally deforming the feet into a triangle shape. So it's no wonder that our feet are becoming triangles after a certain amount of time. So we have to have shoes that are wide enough at the top to allow those toes to splay. And what else do I want to say? Those are really the kind of the main three things: a lack of heel, not having any cushion, having a wide toe box. Oh, and actually the last thing is going to be the malleability of the sole like this. So when we've got these soles that really crunch up, again, it means that our feet can actually move in the way that human feet are designed to. If you've got really like stiff soles and your feet are only able to kind of move in this very rigid pattern, guess what? You're going to get rigid, stiff feet, which then ricochets up through the rest of your body and may start having implications for your knees, your hips, your lower back. Again, can't tell you exactly where you're going to feel these problems, but at some point, somewhere down the line, you will feel problems if your feet get really stiff and if your shoes prohibit this kind of movement here that I'm emulating with my shoe. So those are the kind of 4 things you're looking out for with your barefoot shoes. I'll quickly run through them again. No heel. We don't want the back of our foot always higher than the front of our foot because it really throws our entire body's biomechanics off and it causes problems through the whole system. Secondly, no cushioning, no insoles. Thirdly, a wide toe box so the toes can spread like human toes are designed to. And lastly, malleability through the bottom of the foot so the foot can move, especially through the big toe joint, which really sets off a whole chain of events in the gait cycle in motion. And yeah, I'm going to quickly talk about these 2 styles of shoes. I mean, obviously you've seen this one quite a lot. This is the Primus Light Knit in bright white. This is a new shoe. I've had various Primus Lights before, but never in white. So I'm excited to try, because I think white is my favorite shoe color, even though it's really inappropriate for me because I get very muddy and have a dog and live in the countryside, but I do love white shoes. So I'm excited to try these in the gym. Question I get asked quite a lot is, do you wear barefoot shoes all the time? Answer is yes. Probably about 95% of the time I wear barefoot shoes. I wear them for the gym. I wear them for walking. I have barefoot walking boots from Vivo Barefoot. I wear them out and about. I literally wear barefoot shoes nearly all the time, but occasionally I will wear canvas kind of pump trainers. But I certainly do not wear high heels. I'm quite tall, so luckily I've always actually rather disliked wearing high heels because I was always so much taller than everybody else when I did wear them. But I wear barefoot shoes all the time, give or take. So we've got the Primus Light Knits in bright white. And then my old favourite, we have got the Geocourt 3 women's in bright white. They've actually slightly changed the design of these since the last time I had a pair. They're almost a little bit more kind of like bohemian, rusticy, I would say. The last pair were a bit more like tennis shoe-like or old school tennis shoe-like. And these are a little bit more, I think they've got a bit more personality. So I'm really excited to try these out. But these are very much my Vivo Barefoot staples. I wear these all the time. I've had a number of pairs of them and I wear them until they are black and falling apart. And that is not a sort of comment on the quality of Vivo's shoes, because I think Vivo's make very, very good quality shoes. But it is testament to how much I wear them and how vigorously I wear them and what I wear them for, because I exercise like quite strongly in my Vivos as well. So yeah, they get battered around a bit, but they do last a long time. So these are the Geocourt 3 women's in bright white. So those are my 2 new pairs. I'm obviously wearing my walking boots a lot because it's winter, there's lots of mud, I do lots of walking, I have a dog, and they have always served me well. I've had a couple of different styles, but I haven't had any recently, so I'm not going to talk about the walking boots because I'm not sure if the ones I have are still available to buy, but Vivo do fantastic walking boots. And before I sign off this video, I've mentioned why I like barefoot shoes and what they kind of do to your feet and do to your body to benefit you. But I also touched upon the fact that for some people, like at the moment, they might need padding or insoles in their shoes because otherwise they have pain. So I always like to kind of caveat my chats about barefoot shoes in trying to get people to understand the difference between causation and correlation of a problem. And with that, I mean like foot pain or possibly other pain in the body. So somebody might have, as an example, plantar fasciitis or Achilles tendonitis or some other form of foot pain or problem, Morton's neuroma perhaps. You also might find that you get like knee pain or hip pain or lower back pain. And you go and see somebody who doesn't necessarily advise you on the muscular parts of your body that you can change. So how you can create intrinsic strength from the inside out to get your muscles performing in the way that human bodies and human muscles should be able to perform in. And instead, those people might say, here's a pair of insoles, buy this pair of shoes, get that support in your feet. And in the short term, obviously my goal for people that I'm working with is that they are not suffering pain and that they're making their lives as kind of comfortable as possible. But long term, this is not a solution. You putting insoles in your shoes or having cushioned soles in the short term might alleviate your symptoms of plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, knee pain, hip pain, lower back pain, whatever it might be. But it's not changing the cause of those issues in the first place. And actually it's pain-killing sensations that your body wants you to hear. So if you're walking around barefoot and you get plantar fasciitis, for example, your body is asking you to hear that feedback. It's telling you, there is an issue with how I am walking. The issue isn't necessarily with your feet. It could be that your upper body is so rounded forwards and your head is so far forwards that you're overloading the kind of fronts of your feet. That's a very common cause of plantar fasciitis. It could be that your hips can't extend. It could be that your hips can't rotate. It could be that you don't have very strong calves. The kind of place where the problem presents is not the important part, but the important part is the fact that your body is giving you feedback that it wants you to hear. And if you put an insole in and think that your problems are sorted, then that's not right. To say that is in the most kind of polite way that I can. You're hiding a problem, you're masking a problem, you're literally just effectively taking a painkiller and ignoring the fact that there is something going on. Human bodies are absolutely designed to move barefoot. Like, what do we think that we did for thousands and thousands of years? It's literally only in the last probably couple of 100 years that shoes started to get more sturdy and more sort of tapered and fashionable to cater to fashions and things like that and changing tastes. For a very, very long period of time, shoes will have literally been a protective covering to stop your feet from getting impaled or kind of dirty, I guess. But there wouldn't have been like heels and built-in soles and arch support and all that kind of stuff. All of this technology has really developed since the rise of the sports shoe and the rise of this kind of multi-billion-dollar industry that is telling us that we need all of this technology and we need all of this support to make us keep buying trainers that fundamentally strip function away from our body and make us more immobile and in more pain and have more problems. Because if we have all this fluff and nonsense in our shoes, it stops our toes from being able to move properly. It stops our arches from building. It stops our calves from moving. It stops our Achilles tendon from like tensing and releasing and getting stronger. It really, really changes the way that our entire body moves. And so I've really gone off topic, but I can't help it when I talk about barefoot shoes. But you putting an insole in your shoe or having a supported shoe is not fixing your problem. It's masking the problem that's already there, and you're just not hiding it anymore because you have that shock absorption that's coming from the outside source. So lots of people will buy a pair of barefoot shoes and, well, actually, I'm not going to say lots of people. People will buy barefoot shoes, and probably 50% of those people are overnight converts. Their knee pain goes away, their hip pain goes away, their shoulder pain goes away, their neck pain goes away. Literally, almost overnight, people will wear barefoot shoes and problems that they've had for decades can just go. On the flip side, for lots of other people, they might buy barefoot shoes and suddenly they're feeling all of these problems. So they're feeling their feet, they're feeling their knees, they're feeling their shoulder, they're feeling their lower back. And the problem isn't the barefoot shoe. The problem is that they don't have that support anymore that their body is used to. So the barefoot shoe is merely exposing a problem. It's not creating a problem. There's this kind of, like I said, a confusion between correlation and causation. Barefoot shoes do not cause pain, but there is a correlation with you wearing your barefoot shoes and feeling your pain for maybe the first time in a long time because you're not being duped by the other things that were kind of holding you up artificially with the other shoes and with the support that you had. So for some people, barefoot shoes, like I said, overnight cure, overnight success. They will make you feel amazing straight away. For other people, barefoot shoes are our long-term goal, but ultimately there is more rehab work, prehab work that needs to go into restoring function to the whole body. And this is not just a foot issue, okay? Like I said, if your upper body is off and pulling you forwards, that can cause problems through your feet. If your hips aren't very strong, or your hips can't move, or your pelvis can't move, that can also overload your feet. Yes, you may also have weak, dysfunctional kind of calves, ankles, toes, arches, all that kind of jazz. But foot pain, as with any pain in the body, foot pain is not a kind of localized foot issue. It is a result of what the rest of your body is doing as well. So it's not just about doing foot exercises to prepare yourself for barefoot shoes. You may need, and probably will need, a whole body sort of like a plan of action, right? So getting that thoracic spine moving better, getting those shoulders back over the pelvis, teaching the hips how to extend, teaching the hips how to flex, teaching the hips how to rotate. So yeah, this is a very convoluted way of me saying I really do encourage everybody to buy a pair of barefoot shoes and wear them slowly. So you do not buy a pair of barefoot shoes if you've never worn them before and just run 10 kilometers the day after you buy them, because that's going to be a recipe for disaster. We need to retrain your body how to move well with the barefoot shoes, and that might not happen straight away. So you buy a pair of barefoot shoes, you wear them for 20 minutes the first day that you have them, and you assess how your body feels the next day. You wear them for half an hour the next day and assess how your body feels the next day. You wear them for 45 minutes the next day and assess how it feels. You get my gist. And if you notice that the barefoot shoes are highlighting things to you, so you're like, okay, well, I've worn my barefoot shoes today for half an hour and oh my God, my feet hurt. Ultimately, you shouldn't be going back to just merely putting on that insole and putting on that cushioned shoe and forgetting about it. Now we've opened a can of worms. Why is that foot hurting? And how can we use the strength that is there within your own body to hold your feet up and support your feet in the way that nature, millions of years of evolution, and the human body is designed to? Because the insoles and the cushioning, you are subcontracting work out to an external source rather than getting your body to hold yourself up, which is fundamentally what I am all about. We are looking for that intrinsic foundational strength that should be within all of us, but unfortunately is stripped away from a young age when we sit on chairs all day. We don't use our bodies in all the ways that they are designed to be used. And also when we start wearing shoes that strip away that function and change the biomechanical load of our body as we walk and as we run and as we stand, all of these things massively contribute to whole body dysfunction. So buy a pair of barefoot shoes. Ease yourself into them slowly. You will probably be fine. If you are not fine, you're not blaming the barefoot shoes. You are just understanding that the barefoot shoes have exposed a movement problem that was already there in the first place, but it was being masked by the painkillers, the insoles and cushioning that you were wearing. And your challenge is to figure out why that pain is there. And of course, there are people like me who will help you with that and give you this whole body perspective rather than just focusing in on localized symptoms. But yeah, that's your long-term plan. We shouldn't be relying on the support that shoes can give us, because ultimately that leads us down a path where we're slowly just going to have function stripped away from us bit by bit. We've got to find that function ourselves, and we've got to do the hard work to put it back into the muscles of our body where it belongs and make ourselves as strong and mobile in a whole body sense as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And if you did want to buy a pair of Vivo Barefoots yourselves, I have a code for 10% off, which is Posture Ellie Vivo, all in capitals, and you can apply that at the checkout for 10% off. So thank you very much for joining me, and if you're still here listening, well done for making it all the way through, and I hope to see you in a pair of barefoot shoes sometime soon. Bye.